Alright, welcome back. In this video, we'll look at the remove message and the report message for this application. And to do that, we can go ahead and just add those files, first of all. So remove message.js, and we can add another one called report message.js. And if we start with the one that's remove message, we can go ahead and go into this one first and just go ahead and copy everything down to, let's actually go to add message and do that. So copy everything from there down to where we add this. And just go ahead and add the missing parentheses as well. So that one is for there, you can do that. And in here we'll just do like so, I think. Right, so we are able to add and find a message right now. We need to be able to remove is where I actually want to be. Let's just copy that. So in remove, we want to be able to delete a message. That's what we want to do. And when we delete a message, that message should not be removed from the database, which is a bit weird, because when you delete a message, you kind of want it to disappear, but that's not how this is going to work. Instead of disappearing, it should just be deleted. But it should still show as showing. And if we make the comparison to Reddit again, it is actually possible to delete a message on Reddit for a moderator, I think. But for the user itself, you cannot actually delete your message. You can delete the text inside the message, and the message will just say deleted. But the message itself persists. It's still there, so that you can reply to that message. Because if you delete the message itself, you can't reply to it. And if you delete a message which replies to it, you get a lot of complicated stuff to it. And to avoid that, we just don't delete the message. We just say that it is deleted. Yeah, so let's do that. We'll go for a message.findOne. And we'll find one with the ID of object ID rect.body.reply ID. So, and if we have one of those, we want to handle that. So we'll go for error result and we'll do that. And if we have the error, we console error that as error while retrieving message : error. So if we don't have that error, we can go ahead and if result.delete password is equal to rect.body.delete password. Remember, we need a delete password to be able to delete the message. So we'll make sure that these two are equal. And if they're not equal, then you're not allowed to delete the message. So here we just go for message.update1. And we'll update one where we have this actually, where the ID of object ID is rect.body.reply ID. This message will update and we'll set that as message is string that's deleted. So this is how we delete the thread. It's still there, we just updated it. So we don't have to really delete it. We say that it is by using the remove message endpoint, but we don't actually delete it. Right, and then we'll go to thread. Remember, we have the message itself that we have to update, and we update it as deleted, but every message that we have is also pushed to an array of replies that's connected to each thread. So when we update a message, we also have to update the thread, the replies on that thread. So find one and update, and here we'll also update the ID, but we'll update the object ID of rect.body.thread ID here instead of the reply ID, and replies dot ID will be object ID rect.body.reply ID. So, and this one will set as replies dot thingy $sign dot message, and we'll set that as deleted. So we'll do the same thing essentially, but in that replies array. So, and then we'll go for an error and result. So, and if we have an error, we have to handle that. So we do console error while updating thread message. I don't really see why we would ever get here, but it may be nice to just have that text to know where it goes wrong if it does. Here we have rest.send success, and I believe we do that because we have to. If we just go for success, yeah. If we delete a post, a message, it should say deleted, and I should get a text response that will be incorrect password or success. And since this is successful, we just say success and do client and close. So, but this is if it works. So, let's see. This is right. We're starting here. I was confusing myself a bit. So this is an if statement that we have, and this if statement should not be ending here. Actually, it should be ending way down here instead. So, and then here we'll just go for else. So here we're checking if the delete password is right. If it's not, then we just send rest.send incorrect password. And if you write this with capital letters, you need to remember that in the tests you need to look for the exact same spelling. That's important. And that's actually enough for the remove message. So if we close that and we go to report message, we have sort of the same thing. We still need this thread and the message. We can have all of this still. But here we need to do it slightly differently, obviously. Technically, we're doing stuff somewhat the same way, just less of it. Because we'll just report a message, and if we go to the database here, I've obviously already done this. If you look at the replace here, no, doesn't work like that. Never mind. Let's just continue. We have a message.find one and update, and here we'll find the one with the ID. That's the correct ID. So object ID of rect.body.reply _ID, and then we'll set reported to true, and we don't have to check if it's false or not, because if you report it, it's just going to be true anyway. So you can't unreport something, so we don't have to check for that. Then we go for thread.find one and update, and we do the same thing really. So we find the ID of object ID rect.body.thread ID. Did I do the so wait, no. So anyway, and here we'll have replies dot underscore ID. Will be object ID rect.body.reply ID. And then we'll have a new object. We'll set string replies to $sign dot reported is true. So, and then we check for error and result. And if we have that error, we console error that as error while updating thread message and error. So, and if we don't have that error, we can just go ahead and write rest.send success. You may notice that we're not actually doing anything with the result here, and that's because we don't really have to. Since we know that the message exists, we don't really have to check for it here, because if we've done stuff right in the add and find message, it's gonna be in here as well. And then we don't need to check that this result exists. You could, if you want to check what's happening, just go and log that out to make sure that you get the right result. But I'm not doing that because I've already checked that. Yeah, and that's gonna be it for this video. So by now we have full functionality for messages, but nothing for threads. So obviously what's missing in this application is these 4 functions for threads, and then some tests. So see you in the next video, where we'll look at add and find message. Bye!